First, small correction, I'm not the director of SIDN, but the SIDN Funds. SIDN is the organization behind the .nl domain, as you may probably know, and they decided to put their money where their mouth is. They have a sort of strong mission about what the internet in the Netherlands, but also in the world, should be, based on the original values on which the internet was built. And so the fund is supporting all kinds of initiatives and projects that contribute to those objectives. I'm sorry, I have some of the slides are in Dutch, but I'm going to talk in English. So if you, I guess everything will be understandable, and if not, please ask me. But I think I'm going to give you some hope for the life after the hackathon, and create some possibilities to continue the good work that will probably be done there, and make sure that this can land and this can possibly scale up, in the sense that you have to do projects, or we are supporting projects that contribute to more social impact of internet, and in this case of blockchain. So basically business to business applications or solutions will not likely be funded by us, to make that immediately clear at the beginning of my talk. So what we're looking for is, of course, projects that have, in general, when we support our projects, internet-related projects that are really innovative, in the sense that it's not incremental innovation, but preferably a little bit disruptive innovation. That's where we're looking for, and that's because of being disrupted, are not easy, cannot easily find money in any case. So then you cannot come up to us and see if we can do something for us. But you have to do something that has to do with the social good. We are sort of a charity for the internet, so the social impact of the internet project is the main objective of what we are doing. And part of that is that we're really into open sharing of what you're producing there. So we are also, of course, very closely linked to the open source community, but open sharing of knowledge in order to improve the internet on a collective basis. That's where we stand for. So basically we have three objectives: make the internet strong, empower the user of the internet, and use the internet in such a way that we can create social value with it. And the instruments we have for this is, we have 2 open calls a year. Our next open call will close in the beginning of March, 7th of March, and we'll have a specific attention for blockchain for good. So you can still apply with all kinds of ideas, but blockchain projects we are actually looking for, blockchain for good projects. And then we have 2 typical kind of projects or instruments that you can apply for. One is called Pioneers, and I think something that could come out of the hackathon can really fit into that instrument, because it gives you the opportunity to develop a basic concept further and make it, let it work into, make it a proof of concept, or do some first research into the field whether this concept can be applicable to a certain problem. And the other, and if you apply for this is really, if you are chosen, then this is really easy money. We see this as our innovation playground. So it's really innovation money that you can use in a rather simple and easy way. We're not strong on monitoring whether you're actually delivering what you promised in the beginning. It's really experimentation money, and we're still looking for really good projects here. This instrument is not popular enough in our view. There's a lot of opportunity here for instance, students that done something during their studies and want to bring that to the next level. You can get up to 10,000 euro within this part of the fund and within this part of the open call. The other instrument is what we call potentials. And for a potential, you have to convince us that there is really some market potential within the product that you're trying to build up. So this is in a further stage of scaling up, etc. So you have to answer to some other criteria than when you apply for a pioneer project. And a potential grant can be up to 75,000 euro. Can be less as well, but 75,000 euro is the maximum. And now the call that is open now, and it will close on the 7th of March, is focusing specifically on blockchain for good. So we're really looking forward to what comes out of the hackathon, not only in terms of the actual project that are being developed there, but also in terms of ideas building and exploring all the potential, for instance, issues and tensions that we also see around blockchain. For us, blockchain is a little bit too much hyped at the moment, particularly when you talk about blockchain for good. There's a lot of high expectations around this subject. It could be very good for democracy and, for instance, because of the transparency promises that it has. But there are also some tensions for us that are really important. For instance, the tension between transparency on the one hand and privacy on the other hand. And what kind of solutions can we build to scale up this whole idea about the promise of blockchain in a really sensible and responsible way? That is the goal of this call. Developing proof of concepts and also improvement of technology can be part of the project, but actually we're not primarily focusing on the development of the technology here. When you come to us, you really have to know something about the problem that you're trying to solve. So we don't start with a solution. With us, you have to start with a problem, and blockchain may be an answer, but if you're not convincing us that this is a real answer to this problem, then we usually describe this as a solution looking for a problem, and those are not welcome. We want solutions that are actually helping to solve a real-life problem. So that's basically what I want to say, but maybe we have a few things more could be interesting for this crowd, so I'll mention them very briefly, because we also really want to support the more reflective and fundamental thinking about these kind of developments. So we are also funding academic research since this year. Unfortunately, that call closed this week, so for the call that we had open, there's no opportunity, but at the end of the year, we'll have another call. So any of you who is involved in academic research concerning blockchain, keep us in your eye and watch out for the next call, probably somewhere in the autumn of this year. And we also, I'll leave this behind because it is probably too much explanation, but we also have a prize for excellent theses, master theses on that are supporting our goals. We do that with a lot of other parties, so you can hand in theses for technical issues, but also for social science kind of theses or from different disciplines, and you can win 2,000 euros with that as well. And that closes on the 1st of February. If I may be so free to look around, I think most of you have passed the age of doing your thesis, but maybe you have students that you can support to hand in their excellent thesis with us. So that's basically what I wanted to tell.
Thank you very much. So Alexander Rinoy-Kan got his scriptie prize as well last year?
Yeah.
Yeah?
That was a very long time ago, I think. No, he handed it out because it was in the Royal Academy of Sciences in Haarlem.
In Haarlem.
And he was the chair of that.
Ah, okay, thank you.
And Prince Constantine is our chair of our advisory board. So
and is that
was
sort of
the
an
other
ambassador?
well-known face on that picture.
Well, you're well known too, right? You're on the stage now.
Yeah, I was on it too, but
So.
I'm a little bit more modest, maybe.
Question.
Yeah.
So I had a look at the excellent information at your website, and it was in Dutch. And when I was wondering why, I found this text that actually the grant is for people in Netherlands, either Dutch-speaking or living in Netherlands. That's a bit strange, because if you're talking about open source development for good, it can be applied everywhere. Yeah. And I would argue you would even have a better bang for your buck, a better ROI on your investment if you would open it for international developers, since the cost of living in, let's say, Brazil or Ukraine is lower. And I know quite a lot of teams who would qualify for grants, but are not based in the Netherlands.
Yeah, excellent question, actually. And we are struggling with this issue as well, but this has to do with the background of where our money comes from. So it's the sensitivity of of the way the fund is composed. But what I can say about this is that we have to have the focus has to be on the Netherlands, but that is where the money comes from.
Well, you could argue to your sponsors that it would make even better PR if it was open.
Yeah, well, I'll enlighten you over a drink if you want about the sensitivities behind this. But I think this is sort. We will move on, and in the end, this will become much more international. But I completely agree with you. It's a bit nonsensical to look at merely to focus on the Netherlands. But we sort of look at this from the perspective that, for instance, start with your pilot in the Netherlands, and then you can already talk to us. And we are also in a network of sister organizations globally that are doing this similar kind of work. So we can easily bring this under the attention of other funders that are more internationally based and have the same kind of objectives as we do. So that's the way we approach it in order to move around those sensibilities, sensitivities.
Marry a Dutch woman could also be not. Questions? No? I have one.
I see it's one hand there.
Hello. Well, we're talking about sister organizations. Are we talking about platforms like ICANN then?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, yeah, ICANN is on the global level, but SIDN is indeed the Dutch representation of what ICANN represents on a global scale. And every country has a similar kind of organization like SIDN that is taking part in this whole internet governance world. And some of them have similar funds like us. For instance, if you're operating in the UK, Nominate Trust is one of our sister organizations that does a lot of work for tech for good kind of projects. But in Sweden and in many other countries there are similar kind of funds. But you can also think about funds that are supporting digital rights movements, and those that is another network of organizations of funders, and then you can talk, for instance, to Ford Foundation or to the Open Society Foundation, whatever. So there are many possibilities, I think, and if it's up to us, we are going to organize this more strongly. But we can always bring you in touch with relevant organizations in other countries if they are there. So.
Yeah, because SIDN is representing the Dutch .nl domain.
Yeah.
Isn't that correct?
Yeah, that's it.
And are you playing a leading role? Are we playing a leading role in the Netherlands?
Well,
for the
the Netherlands is in terms of the in cash. No, I think, for instance, the UK, our UK sister organization is a bit bigger in terms of the cash that is in the fund. Okay. But the Netherlands is not a small player, and also in the world of the internet domains, the Netherlands is actually really big. It's the 8th. In size of the country domains in the world. So even if you're such a tiny country, So please keep registering .nl names because that's good for the fund. And then we can give it back to you. So
one thing that wasn't clear to me, because blockchain for the good has a large like CSR kind of connotation to it, but can it also be a commercial proposition that gets funded?
Well. That depends a little bit on what kind of commercial initiatives. For instance, we are supporting social enterprises, but it usually is commercial with a social angle to it. So it's your focus should not only be on getting rich as easy as possible, but also on producing social value. But you can be a company that we support. That's not a problem.
It's a mix of both, ideally.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's more the objective of the project that counts, and not whether you're a company or a foundation or whatever. You can be a company easily. It's not a problem.
Okay. Thank you very much. Hand for Valerie.